Hi, Alegre here. The following podcast is a recording of Natasha and I doing our November 2021 monthly course correct. What's a course correct? I'm so glad you asked. This is something that we do with our alumni group every single month. And the reason why is because even when you have a destination and you have a plan to get you to your destination, unexpected things happen along the way. It's called life. And because of that, you need to course correct. So we do this once a month with our alumni group. And when you listen to this podcast, you'll hear us discussing things like listing our accomplishments for the month, any books, podcasts, or people who inspired us along the month. And we are using a template that we have created for our alumni in order to assist them in their course correction. If you would like to download this template so that you can follow along better, go to smarturl.it/coursecorrect. By the way, for any alumni listening, we have changed the date of the annual review, so please check the events calendar in the alumni group. And if you have any questions at any time, go to anchor.fm/BYWdreams, and you can actually record a question for us that we can play on the air. We love answering questions. Enjoy the podcast after the tunes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Wild Dreamers. Oh my goodness. Allegra, like, how long does November feel to you? Doesn't it feel like I was just, because as we were prepping and the video's playing and I'm flipping back in my planner to, like, the beginning of the month, I was like, that felt like
A blip.
ages.
Oh, really?
Ago. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think just because I was like, oh my God, we did our biz retreat at the beginning of this month. Part of me feels like that happened like so long ago because
That's
a lot
true.
of right? It did go by fast, but it also feels like, holy moly, a lot happened in November.
It is hard to believe it's the same month as our bizcation.
Wild. It's wild.
Which
Yeah.
highly recommend if
Oh my God.
there's just nothing like taking a couple days away to focus. And
Right. Yes.
I remember the first time I asked my husband if I could take a couple days away, and I really didn't feel empowered to ask. Like I thought I was asking for something that I didn't deserve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think also, like, just to, like, I don't know how, I think also, like, our kids are a little older now too. Like, I don't know how long ago it was when you first felt that, but I definitely, I've definitely, like, taken a trip to go see a friend or like a girls' vacay or something like that. And when my kids were way younger, I was kind of like, ooh, and not because he couldn't handle it, but there was like either I felt like I didn't deserve it or I felt guilty,
Right.
or I don't know. But like now that they're older and they're more capable and you're not like wiping butts and tying shoes and you know what I mean? Like maybe it feels a little less, I don't know. At least I should speak for myself. That's how I feel.
I'd have to look at my checkbook to see if it was her first Thanksgiving or her second Thanksgiving when I took one. But I really wanted to do this yoga retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was her second Thanksgiving. So she was a year and a half. And I was still breastfeeding, right? So I had to like pump and store and all of that stuff. But I just really felt like because it had been 2 years of my body not being my own.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I really just need of yoga. I just need to go away for 2 days and do a crap ton of yoga. And like, I just knew I needed it. I was like, I'm going to, I'm just the sort of person that my stress really manifests itself physically, right? Like I might not be mentally aware of it, but like my body feels it. And I was just like, I'm not feeling good. And at this age, I'm old enough to know that like, okay, there's stuff I need to release. I was just like, I'm going to go crazy if I don't leave the house.
So if you're just joining us, we're here for our November 2021 monthly course correct. Thanks for jumping online. Go ahead and jump into the comments if you want to say hi. And we'd love for you to go ahead and grab your monthly course correct sheets. It is in the files in the alumni group. And monthly course Correct has got the questions on the front. I print it on both sides. You can print on 2 separate pages if you want. And then our little instrument panel on the back. So we're going to take a look at our month of November. We do this every month, the last Sunday of every month, even those couple days left in November still. We do like to just jump in the last Sunday because we like to plan on Sundays. So we think it's a great time to go ahead and start that habit. So, go ahead and grab your monthly course correct. And if you don't have this printed out, don't worry about it. Just look who's got her highlighters and her
grab
stickers.
Your tools. You know what?
That's right. Oh my gosh.
My colored pencils ran away. I'll be right back. One moment.
I have my colored pencils. I don't know where my stickers went. But yeah, so grab your utensils or grab the things that you love to use, your stickers, your colored pencils, whatever it is like that you like to use to make things fun. And if you don't have your monthly course correct page, no worries. Just go ahead and use a blank page in your journal or notebook. And you can just kind of jot these things down regardless, right? We're going to start off with just listing our accomplishments. So one of the things that Alegre does during the month, which is go ahead and put stars next to the things that she thinks she should acknowledge herself for the month. And she does it as the week goes along, right? She goes ahead and puts stars in every time we have like a session or we do one of our classes or anything, along those lines. She'll put the star in as she goes. I kind of just wait till my monthly course correct and just open each week, go through and either I highlight it in a different color or put a different highlighted star next to mine. Like I go ahead and highlight the things that I've done as they're happening in one color and maybe a different color to just give myself like, that's a star. That's a star. So that when I go ahead and jump over to the accomplishment section, I can go and just quickly look at the things that I think deserve to be looked at. So this month, like Alegre and I started talking about when we first jumped on, a lot happened this month. A lot happened. And one of the biggies for me was definitely our bizcation. So that was one of the things we kicked off this earlier this month. We've got a lot of good things coming up in store. We're super excited to share that with you. If you're in this alumni group, that means you have taken our course most likely in the 6 increments that we've done back when we first did our first beta course in June and this last one in October. Well, we are planning a lot of fun things for 2022. And the first thing that we're planning that's pretty exciting is that we've taken our course and we've distilled it down into a 2-day intensive. And I shouldn't say distilled because it's not less of a course. It's just into a 2-day intensive. So it's consecutive Saturdays. And basically it's this course you took with some improvements. We're always moving ahead and improving. But we're distilling it down into 2 days, our intensive. So I was just talking about our bizcation. That's definitely my first accomplishment I'm listing on my accomplishments for the month of November was our bizcation. We came up with a lot of amazing ideas, and that first one is we're going to go ahead and offer this course as a 2-day intensive. So for those of you who really want to have a refresher at the top of 2022, or those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I know a bunch of people who could really use this, feel free to pass that along. And we're offering that up. We have a masterclass coming out very shortly that we'd like to introduce you to too. We have a whole bunch of great things coming up for 2022 that was born out of this bizcation. I love calling it a bizcation too. And it really was, we got a lot of work done. And because we had so many great ideas too, we're like, woo, there's a lot of work to do too, right? But we had so much. It's so fun to have just a little capsule where we're just really uber focused. That one day when you're like, we've been working for 14 hours. I was like, I felt like we were doing a lot of work, but it didn't feel like work. You know what I mean? We were focused. It was awesome. But it didn't feel like
living your values, right? Like it was,
100%.
And also working with a friend, right? Like it definitely wouldn't have been as fun by myself.
We had to spend a lot of time with some people I can think of would not have felt the cation part of the biz thing.
Right.
Not very occasion-y.
Right.
Bizcation 2021. I'm writing that down for myself. That was a biggie for my accomplishments this month for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so do you do the whole go back and look at your stickers like I do to guide you?
I was just talking about that. Like I go back because I'm not as sticker focused as you, right? So I go back and I'm just kind of like, oh, that's one, and I just do like a little highlighted thingy to this time because I have no idea where my stickers went. Oh wait, you know what? Did I put might put an extra set in the, oh, I did. I put an extra set. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I know you sticker as you go, which is really smart. And maybe I should start picking that habit up.
Let's see. So,
Yes.
and
Right.
I signed up. So I think I've mentioned in the alumni group, at least I mentioned in one of the classes, this book that I highly recommend called We Should All Be Millionaires.
Yeah.
And I really recommend it for everyone because although it's written for specifically people from marginalized communities, whatever, if you feel that you're from a marginalized community, then this book is for you. And how the power of earning more than $1 million in net worth can make the world a better place. And I also feel, though, for people who do not identify as being from a marginalized community, that it can be a very eye-opening book to read.
Mm-hmm.
Just to really get into the feet, right? To walk in someone else's shoes, really. So she offered this amazing opportunity to be a part of her mastermind group. And I did that, and I'm very excited about it. So I can now call myself a schmilly, and I know Natasha's going to be there soon.
I am going to be there soon. And I just say, like, I can't say enough about this book and about Rachel Rodgers from herself. And, whether you are a BIPOC woman or you're not, I feel like she speaks so directly into expanding your consciousness around abundance, and that it's, in that regard, it's good. It's a book for everyone. But like you said, Allegra, like it also does help expand people's consciousness around maybe understanding the marginalized community experience and its and the relationship to wealth and power, which is definitely it's definitely an education. The book as well. It's an education as well as a consciousness expanding piece of work as well. Yeah. I'm a fan of her. I'm a fan of that book. So I am putting stickers on as I go. Vacation is definitely number one for me here. And like, I'm going to go ahead and put a star down because I had a friend of mine. We both have passes to Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I only go to amusement parks, obviously, with my kids. And my friend is a total roller coaster like aficionado, right? So we went to Six Flags, and I was like, as long as I'm back in time to go pick my kids up from school, and I didn't tell them.
How fun!
We had so much fun. Like, it was just
Mom's Day, Six Flags.
Yeah, no lines, of course, right? And and we just rode only what we wanted to ride. And since we're women of a certain age, we have some and so we're not going to anything that's like super spinny. Like we just went on things that are like super fun, definitely thrill inducing, but not something that's gonna like mess with your equilibrium. Where my 8-year-old had me go on like one of these spinny things with him, and I was like, Mommy can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? So it was like super fun. Like we just went on like the women of a certain age adult. And they're fun. Let me tell you, I screamed my face off. It took me like, as a vocal coach, I was like, this is involuntary. I can't even scream healthy right now. I'm having so much fun. I'm definitely putting a star down for that.
We also have to put a star. We got our first podcast out.
Oh my goodness. We really want to invite you to listen to this podcast. We're excited about this podcast. The first podcast is really just introducing the podcast. We're shifting. So, but we'd love for you to hang out with us.
Yeah. And so we actually revamped or transmorgified. I always loved it when Calvin and Hobbes used that word, transmorgified.
Boys made a transmogrifier a few years ago out of a cardboard box. There's also a slash time machine too. It was really good. Yeah, transmogrified.
Yeah, so I had a podcast that ran for a few years, but it really fell off. It just, between my father becoming really ill and then passing and everything. But I talked about a lot of the same things we talk about in BYWD, except I also talked about food. That would be the only topic. But I did talk about, books I like and communication tips and goal setting tips. In fact, two of my most listened to podcasts are one, How to Enter the New Year with Momentum, which I think BYWD folks would totally like. And then the other one is Learning to Deal with Disappointment. And so, yeah, go check it out. I'm really excited to be doing that with Natasha because, there's just things you can do in podcasts that you can't do in any other medium.
Yeah, media. It's a medium.
Medium.
Yeah. No, well, I personally love podcasts. Oh my goodness. Doesn't it? It makes folding laundry and all those other kind of tedious things so much more fun. Whether you're listening to something entertaining or educational, I love podcasts.
And I had a really interesting thing that I'm giving myself a star for that, again, recognizing something that you do, as long as it's something that you said you were going to do, or it's something that helps you live your values, reward yourself. Right.
Right.
So,
right.
My child and I have really been having a challenging, 6 months. It's since hitting 11, communication has been very challenging for us. It's become a lot more contentious. And so I'm actually currently re-listening to a book called Nonviolent Communication, which was recommended to me by my friend who actually was on my podcast a lot. She's the best communicator I know. It's funny because I've always thought that. So clearly whatever she grokked from nonviolent communication was working, right? Because this was long before she told me about it. So anyway, I listened to it, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something like that. But clearly I have not fully incorporated. So I am re-listening.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got it on my nightstand. I have a friend who reads it every January. He reads it. He rereads it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
It's a lot. It's dense. And
it is. It is.
But it's not so dense like it's difficult to get through. It's just there's a lot to grok, like you said.
Well, and also just going back to that spaced repetitious learning, right? Like you have to, like you're in a different place and you've taken the thing that was the low-hanging fruit at that time and now you're ready for something else, right? And so whenever a book speaks to me, I am a big rereader, right? So anyway, so I'm re-listening to it. So we had a really challenging day this past month where I just said to her, I don't know if I can keep homeschooling you because I feel like it's doing damage to our relationship as mother and child. And that's our primary relationship. And so we're going to have to rethink this. And she got really emotional and had some big feelings about that. And I said, look, we're not going to make any decision now, but I'm concerned. So anyway, she wrote a long essay, unprompted by me. She wrote an essay. Well, I guess it's not an essay. It's more like a top 10 list. She wrote a numbered list, all the reasons why she wants to be homeschooled. And it was really, she wrote it like she was writing it to me. Like, here's why I want to be homeschooled, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is great. Let's put this in a protective sleeve. And if you could do me a favor and read it every morning, that would be fantastic. And it's been a huge shift because now she has this thing that's telling her from herself why she wants to be homeschooled. And it's been night and day. So that was a huge breakthrough.
That's amazing, Allegra. I just want to say, you definitely need to give yourself a star for that, because there's some, like that didn't come out of her brain all by itself. There was a lot of groundwork laid there for many, many months. And I have to say, like, my son gave me a long list of why he should play a particular video game in a PowerPoint presentation. So you're definitely doing He did a PowerPoint presentation, and it was about a video game. So at least on homeschooling. And then after I watched this PowerPoint presentation, I was like, my husband and I looked at each other. We're like, I think we kind of have to like. This is really well done. I think we kind of have to say yes. It's great. It's great that she did that, and wow, what a powerful thing for you to reference.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really great. I'm going to give myself a star because right now we're having a few friends over that we have very, very few friends over today. We normally do a large open house kind of tree trimming party the Sunday after every Thanksgiving. And of course we didn't do one last year. And this year, I decided to just have like a couple friends from college and their significant others over. And that's happening downstairs right now. And the reason I'm going to give myself a star for this is because I did not go overboard because I have a tendency I want to go overboard, and so, of course I'm like on Pinterest going like, oh, this charcuterie board is so cute, I just said, you know what? I'm going to get some cutesy little frozen apps from Trader Joe's. And, I made a couple things, but I didn't like bake a ton of stuff. And because literally it was like 4 people coming over, but I could have gone overboard. Well, that's happening right now. And that just warms my heart. It's like a nice little like holiday tradition that we've been doing for a few years. And it's just nice to have, some close friends come over and hang a little ornament on the tree and drink some hot chocolate and, play some caroling music and whatnot. So I'm giving myself a star for getting it done and choosing to not go overboard.
Nice. Okay, so should we move on to books, articles? By the way, I just want to say one of the cool things about the holiday season are the mint cream lollipops at See's Candies.
What? Are those good? Honestly, are they good?
Well, I've always liked their lollipops, but mint cream.
After 8 kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Those little after dinner
mints? Kind of. Well, it's not chocolate, right?
Oh, it's not.
It's not. Yeah. It's like creamy mint.
Not chocolate. I immediately thought chocolate. Okay.
It's like the inside of the after 8, right?
Right. So not the chocolate. Yeah.
Not
okay.
The chocolate.
Oh, interesting.
And they have a cute little striped handle.
Oh, it's really cute.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's very cute. It's very cute.
So, nonviolent communication, obviously, book, article, that's huge.
Yep. And then, of course, we should all be millionaires. I both talked about it. I'm just at the very, very end of that book. I'm taking my time reading it. I've actually re-listened. I shouldn't say read it. I'm listening to it. I'm listening to that a bunch. And this podcast that I'm telling everyone about. I know I told you about it.
Is
you said
The Long Lifetime or Long Time
Academy. Yeah, Long Time Academy. This for me has been very perspective shifting and highly, highly, highly recommend. It's only 6 parts. I think they might have just released the 4th part, but it also comes with a bunch of bonus supplemental exercises, episodes rather, that have exercises like meditations and so forth. So, highly recommend. It's very perspective shifting in going from like being all in the now, gimme, now, and being able to shift into thinking 7 generations.
Mm-hmm.
That indigenous idea.
Yeah, that's why that one company is called 7th Generation.
I know. Yes, I sometimes use their paper towels. They are based in Burlington, so I've been by their.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I've been by their headquarters a bunch. They're based in Burlington, Vermont, which is where my folks live.
That makes sense. Seems like all those companies are in Burlington, Vermont, or Petaluma, California. My hair is like going crazy.
I'm gonna make a note to myself, even though like I think I'm gonna nonviolent communication. I'm gonna pick. I mean, I've got it on my nightstand, like I said, and I've listened to it before, but I think it's time to pick it up again.
Yeah. Yep. I was definitely needing it. I was like, I'm so frustrated. Okay. nonviolent communication.
What's to learn about myself or my habits this month? Where are you at that? Where are you with
Well,
that?
okay, so here's one from nonviolent communication, right? He talks about how when you say I feel angry, that's actually less of an expression of your emotion than just saying I'm angry. And I forget how he explains it, but I know that I was taught to focus on what I'm feeling was supposed to be like a more productive way of communicating. I was taught that back in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not sure because I statements, right? Like focus on I statements. Maybe it's just because American language tends to use the I feel construction a lot. So I realize now that they were saying I statements. They didn't say I feel statements.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that somehow I had internalized that or interpreted that as I feel statements. And I see his point about just because I guess when you say I feel, it's almost like you're saying that person made you feel that way.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than saying I'm angry. Not
Yeah.
I feel angry because you did this. Just I am angry.
Yeah, those two statements have a wildly different energy. If I say I feel angry or I am angry, like we've talked before about, like the I am statement is so much more powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like almost a declaration. But I feel so and such almost feels like it's a little bit removed, right? It doesn't mean you're not feeling it, but
Right.
it just feels a teensy bit removed. It feels just a little bit less like right now, what I am is angry, right? As
Right.
opposed to I am feeling anger. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh, that's just a little buffer and maybe kind of like.
And lack of responsibility is what he says.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta dive back into that book.
Right? I know. I was like,
so the insight around that for yourself, you're saying is what? That like.
That I do. I think I have a tendency to intellectualize things in general. And so that I probably saying I feel is more comfortable to me because of that distance. But I don't know that it's authentic, right? So I don't know. I have to sit with it a little bit more. But I just know that when I was listening to that today, that really struck me as something I need to pay attention to.
That's a biggie. Good.
And you know what? Like I'm really someone once said this and I thought, oh, that's so true, right? Humans are not wine. We do not automatically become better with age.
Yeah, you can turn, you know what I mean? You can get vinegary. If you go way too long. Yeah.
So we have to work on it. And I am committed to working on myself. And the other thing that I think that's powerful about committing to working on yourself is to recognize that within that statement is the understanding that none of us are perfect. Right? Like, I feel like it's just like,
yeah,
it really, it's really takes a load off to feel like, oh, I don't have to be perfect.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, how many times do we say progress, not perfection in our class?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how about you? What did you learn?
I'm for sure not done. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, like, gosh, I feel like if I sit with this a little bit, I feel like there's a lot I learned. I'm thinking about we should all be millionaires. Like, I really do have a resistance to like really like claiming deserving, raising my rates or going ahead and charging what probably, my services are worth, listening to her talk about it, I'm like, so often I'm ready to downplay and or like give it away for nothing, like as opposed to standing for like, oh, this client, like feeling into what I feel like they're comfortable with, as opposed to like, yeah, this is what I'm worth and this, what I do is worth this, And so, and that's not necessarily a new insight, but I think the degree to which I've been cheating myself was a newer insight, right?
Mm.
Like I think I've known for a while that I've undervalued myself, but I don't think I really got the impact of how much I've been cheating myself because of that. That was for sure, you know, listening to this book. And then, like I said, Long Time Academy has definitely been, there's a lot in there. In fact, it's kind of deep. I don't know. I'm going to write a little shorthand for myself here because I have to go back and I've listened to the first episode again. And I was like, oh, right. It feels like there's a lot to unpack with that. So I've discovered a lot in my relating to just even the understanding of future generations, how currently they don't really have any impact on us, and the idea of thinking that far ahead, 7 generations ahead is a long time ahead. Like I can conceive of my kids and my kids' kids, but I can't conceive of my great grandchildren as easily, right? Or their children. Like that's a tough one. And that's what this academy has you kind of like start to delve into that, and that's also an insight that I had been kicking around, sitting with, like you said.
So, who inspired me? Who championed me? I mean, I'm going through, so part of becoming a schmilly, there are a number of courses. So definitely there's a lot of inspiration around being a schmilly and, seeing all these amazing things that these schmilly women, mostly women, are doing. And also, because they also ask questions. And so I've been able to contribute to the conversation that way. And I've had some schmillies, just say thank you for being honest, I guess. So yeah, so I'm feeling inspired and championed by schmillies and my decision to be there.
That's great. That's really great. Everything you've told me and shared with me about being in that group has been awesome. I just want to say that my husband's championing. How come I can't say that word right now? Me, in that he's really been acknowledging me lately. I went a little above and beyond for his birthday this last weekend. And even though this past week the kids have been off for the holiday for Thanksgiving, and it has been a little bit more than we've been used to in the last year as far as activity goes. Right before we got on this call, he just kind of stuck his head and he goes, I just want to say thank you, because we're having a nice time. And he knows that that's part of this is happening because I instigated it and, made it happen and that kind of thing. And he was super grateful. We surprised him for his birthday. He was so grateful that we showed up at he's go-kart racing, and we showed up at the racetrack with a cake and sandwiches for everyone and stuff. And he was super excited about that. So, and he was just very, he's just very appreciative. And we went on some really beautiful hikes this week and stuff too. So I feel really championed by him, and that's really nice.
And you should. Yeah, your husband is your biggest fan.
Yeah.
Like the way he talks about you to me is so cute.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm always just like, oh, and that I need to stop it because I'm just kind of like, well, he doesn't. Of course he does, because
no.
like, yeah, not it at all. No, it's wonderful and it's great, and then I have this like automatic downplaying it, even if it's just in my own mind,
right.
Not to put him down, like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but just me going like, well, of course he does. Like when you're like a kid and you're just like, well, of course you're going to say that, Mom, because you're my mom. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, mom's like, you're so beautiful or whatever. You're like, well, of course you think that, you're my mother. That kind of thing. But all right, I'm going to embrace it.
And so, I mean, kind of along that lines, my husband and I had a conversation. We had a date night this month, and I said to him, how lucky are we that we still like each other?
Right?
That we still want to be together and enjoy time together, because there was a time 5 or 6 years ago when it wasn't clear that our relationship was going to survive. But he really put in the work, and like we're all reaping the benefits of it now.
Yeah. It's important. It's work, right? It's not work.
Yeah.
For sure. Any distractions, fear, mental blocks?
I mean, I don't know if fear is the right word, but you and I have talked a lot about, the things that we're doing. And I think we've been good about recognizing, like, for instance, we had talked about doing the workbook / planner this year.
Right.
And then we just realized that wasn't going to happen and happen as, make it the quality we wanted. Right.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. I mean, we could have made it happen, but we want to pivot it. I feel like we reprioritized. So we course corrected, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we got a lot of great things coming up in 2022. We had initially planned for have our workbook done by the end of this year. And we're realizing, there's some other things that we really want to get to first that we think is a priority. And then also really make that workbook planner thing like really kick ass if we give ourselves some more time to just get it exactly how we want it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing how much our second workshop, how different it was from the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And our third one is going to be very different from the first two as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're learning, we're getting feedback from y'all, and we're improving.
Yeah. Right? We're structuring. Right. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Which is bound to happen.
Yep. It's what we tell you to do anyway. Course correct. Self-care.
So I had said to my husband that I wanted to make jacuzzi, cold plunge a weekly event, and we've been doing that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And also I've been doing, my family's really gotten into archery. So we've been doing archery multiple times a week, which has been really fun. And actually, interesting, unexpected side benefit. One thing I've really noticed about getting older is loss of grip strength. And I remember reading an article about how grip strength was like a surprising indicator of, I don't remember if it was age or health. Like, how so there's some of these like strange, like for instance, being able to sit down on the ground and get up without using your hands is actually like a really good indication of general health.
Without using your hands.
Yeah, without using your hands. So sit down without using your hands and get up.
I haven't thought about that. I'm going to test that.
Yeah. Do you want to go run away and come back?
I mean, should I just go off camera right now? It may not be pretty. Though it may not be pretty. We will wait till after. Oh my goodness, for real. I didn't even think of that. I had no idea.
So I had read something about grip strength, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been noticing like the last 2 years, like, oh, wow. Anyway, an unexpected side benefit of doing archery has been, it's been increasing my grip strength.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've been, and I'm not noticing the increased grip strength so much, but I've just been noticing that like, oh, my fingers feel like they've been worked out in a way that I've never felt before. That like, I recognize the feeling from the rest of my body.
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh especially God. Because I shoot both sides. Yeah.
Dexterous.
So I get to work out both sides. So
smart Carta. Man, that sounds fantastic.
How about you? What self-care?
Well, I feel like part of our bizcation was self-care in that, like, that we got to like, that we got to just go and really focus. I definitely feel like my trip to Six Flags was self-care. It was super duper fun. I have some really good self-care coming up later this week. I'm excited.
Yes.
My friend in Hawaii. The main thing I can say this, like, I've been, because of the habits and the habit stacking, my skincare that I was really not great about has just really become second nature. And I really do, when I'm doing it, I really think about, even though it just takes a couple minutes, right? And it's not fancy. Like I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just doing it though, right? I'm just doing
Right.
cleansing and doing like a couple, like not tons and tons of steps, but it does, like, I really think about it in that moment. I really think about like, this is care, this is self-care. And just having that thought around it makes it even, just that's enough. I feel like, you know what I mean? And I don't say it's enough, like, and then I don't have to do anything else, but I just mean like, that just feels like, oh, on a daily basis, I'm caring for my skin in the morning, I'm caring for my skin at night. And it's just a couple minutes. And for some people, it might be like, duh, of course you do that every day. Right. But it hasn't been been something I thought about. It hasn't been something, so that's my whole point of this is like, that's just becoming more and more second nature, and it's just becoming a habit, right? But the thought around it is the thing that I'm keeping. And then the other self-care is just, today I just gave myself a lot of passes for things not being perfect, clean, the way that I would have done it if I had had more time, or blah, blah, blah. Like today lots of things just didn't come out the way that they were imagined, right? Or like that I would have. So that kind of feels like self-care too, just allowing myself to have a little bit of a pass.
Yes.
And y'all, since this is tomorrow and it's still in the month of November, I'm going to get a mani-pedi with a good friend of mine.
So you have another self-care thing to look forward to.
I do. And it's technically in the month of November, so I'm writing it down.
Yes. Nice. And something I've always, by the way, so speaking of accomplishments, going back to that, we also did our first newsletter, BYWD newsletter.
That's right.
So you should have gotten it. If you didn't get it, you can sign up for it on our website or go to Smart URL. Actually, let me just put it out in a banner right here. Smart URL.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Where is it? Oops, not that one. Great. Okay. You can sign up for our newsletter at this URL, and and then you can see our newsletter. And so it has dates, right? So the monthly course correct. Next month is going to be our annual course correct. So join us for that.
BYWD annual course correct, right? Is that the first one that we'll be doing?
Yes, it's our first one. It's our first annual course correct. So it'll be a little bit different than the monthly course correct. Mm-hmm. So show up so you can be a part of that.
It really kind of will be like a mini refresher on the course, right? Itself. So, and really helpful to get situated for 2022.
Yes.
Awesome.
And to help enter the new year with momentum, because I know that before I did the annual course correct in December, it would be like the 3rd or 4th week of January before I would do anything.
For sure. Absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be like clawing myself back, like, wait, how? That's the funny thing about momentum, right? It's easier to just keep the wheel spinning than to get it going again, right?
Holy moly. That's true.
So it'll have dates on there. It'll also have like books and podcasts and whatever that we're recommending that we think you might be interested in. It also, will have links to the podcast. So so check out the newsletter. And speaking of which, we have something coming up, right? The 1-hour workshop called Turn Your To-Do List into Your To-Done List.
To-done. Yeah, for real. Like, and if you've taken our course, I used to love a to-do list, right? So we're talking about
she loved a to-do clipboard.
Okay, all right. I like to run around like a project manager at my house. I'm the only thing I was missing is like a whistle, or something like that. Yeah, like, so we talk about the 3 top mistakes people use or do rather in regards to to-do lists, and we talk about the 3 top pro tips to help like alleviate those mistakes or course correct those mistakes, that really help. There's solutions to those mistakes that will just help you get from to do to done.
To do to done. And the workshop is only going to be $27. There will be at least 2 live broadcasts of it. And then also there'll be a recorded version. And look, of course, as you know, it's worth way more than $27, but we're using this as a great opportunity for people to be wowed by us, right? So if you have friends who maybe have been interested in the course but weren't sure because, you know, they'd like a sample of what we have to offer, this is that.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot out of it. Like you're gonna get a lot out of this. Of it's not all stuff that we've done already in the main course. Some of it's a little bit of a review, but you know we love review. We know that you should love review too.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely like super helpful. They're going to get done with that 1 hour workshop and they will have usable tools to really achieve and move stuff forward.
Absolutely. So if
your overall takeaway from this month, you have a takeaway?
I can't think of one right now.
Well, I flipped my paper over and I looked at my monthly tracker, and my takeaway is that I have not really been tracking. My takeaway is that I get to re-up on my tracking, because we were just talking a second ago about momentum, and I allowed the like we said at the very, very beginning of this, I allowed the busyness of November, like a lot going on, let that slide. And like that just not following those metrics does not help me. I get to the end of the month and I'm not feeling as well. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this though. I ran a turkey trot. I ran a 5K on Thanksgiving morning.
How
and
so fun!
I was just it was so super fun. I was just going to say something about my physical, like just keeping up with my physical exercise and that kind of thing. And because I wasn't tracking it as much, I just wasn't on it as much. It's just, absolutely did it, right? And I did enough that I was able to run a 5K and not like train for it, and still like, decently get across the finish line without killing myself. But had I like been more present to it, been tracking it, I might have been able to like maybe get across that finish line a little earlier, maybe. I don't know. That's my biggest takeaway is that I really have not been diligent about my monthly Trabbit hacking.
Trabbit hacking. I like it. Trabbit. You need to Trabbit hack.
Trabbit hack. It's a Trabbit hack, y'all. Everybody's about the hacks anyway these days, right?
Yeah.
So it's a
that's like my child's, instead of butterfly, she says flutterby. And I'm like, we should lobby Merriam-Webster. We should change that. We should change it to Trabbit hacking. Trabbit hacking.
Flutterby makes more sense than Trabbit hacking. That's just my blah, 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 blah.
But you know what? That's great for everyone to know. Everyone falls off, right? The point is you know what you need to do to get back on. Hey, I fall off too, I mean, during the holidays, I definitely fall off, like I've been saying that the last couple months, I've been walking a lot, but I have not been feeling the desire to do a burpee. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Because like there, I go through periods where I'm like, oh, burpees, squats, oh. The last couple months, I've just been like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk a lot. And I have been walking, so that's been good. And of course, during this time of the year, my no sugar during the week does not get stuck to. But I also know what I need to do to get back on, right? So,
and this is why we do these course corrects, because you can just sail next month without kind of having that little moment. To like right now, what is this going to take us? It's an hour, right? So an hour out of your month to just really get in touch with what's working and what's not, and that makes all the difference between having a December that aligns with your values or not.
I do have one thing to say though, which is, and I said last month that I was really not adhering to my desire to go to bed by 10:30. And I recommitted to doing better on that. And I have done better on that this month. And I feel so much better So I'm really glad.
That definitely goes in your achievements column. I mean, your achievement spot, don't you think? Because, like, you said you were going to do it. You did it. This definitely puts you on your integrity.
My achievement thing is just so full. I just,
oh my God.
I just can't fit another achievement.
Achievements. My wallet is too small for my $1,000 bills. That is awesome. I don't have enough room in my achievement spot.
I don't have enough room for. It feels so good to recognize yourself for the time that you put into things. So we really hope you do that. We hope that by you hearing how quote unquote small the things that we reward ourselves for are, that you'll be inspired, because honestly, when you reward yourself, you're giving yourself that, that dopamine hit in your brain, which means your brain's like, you know what? I want to keep doing this thing. So don't underestimate that part of the habit cycle.
100%. I think and if you've taken our course before, you know that you heard me talk about like my shock initially of what Alegre would acknowledge herself for. Let me just tell you, somebody who has, like, I'm a convert now. Like, I'm giving myself approval and praise and acknowledgement for even what I would have previously been like, well, you're just supposed to do that. And that's just a small thing. And why would you even, and let me tell you, it makes a huge, huge difference. And again, the brain science supports you going ahead and really acknowledging that. And that keeping the momentum going. And that's key.
Yep.
Key to continuing to live in alignment with your values.
So key.
Oh man.
I have to say, it's really nice to be able to really color in the human connection.
One right now. I was going to say that one's 100% for me this month.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's just,
is it this time of year? Is it the fact that we're getting vaccinated and we can see?
I think it's the fact that, like, the kids are getting vaccinated. Also, so my daughter's homeschooled, and there's a homeschooling group in Los Angeles that I've always heard about, but I've never felt the need to go. And my daughter said to me, Mom, I need more social, because some of the social things that she used to do, we're not doing still, like choir, right? She used to do choir, and it's indoors, and I might reevaluate once she's fully vaccinated, which she will be by the new year. But so I said, okay, let's go to this homeschooling park day. And it ended up being so much fun, not just for her, but for me. Like, I met some really, really fun parents. And, one of the things that we do whenever we're going somewhere is I'll ask her, I was like, so what's your plan for meeting new people? And she's like, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I want to be a zookeeper. What's your name?
Oh my gosh.
And
so cute.
Yeah. So she's ready. She's ready with her line. And she just insinuated herself right into the group. No problem. It was really cool.
That's so great.
And she had a blast. So I'm really glad that we did that.
That's so great. That's wonderful. She's adorable.
It's really fun watching her be empowered with these tools that I wish I had at that age.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Man, honestly, my contribution's pretty high too. Yes. I just went to our church today and dropped off some gift cards for the Secret Santa thing.
Yes, we did that too.
And this drumstick dash was to raise money for an amazing organization here in Los Angeles called Hope of the Valley that are putting up 1,000. They put up over 1,000 new beds this year for the unhomed.
They're the tiny villages, right?
The tiny villages. Yeah, they do these tiny homes, which are just extraordinary, cheerful, clean, amazing spots that have great services, laundry and showers and counseling and three square meals a day, and just really, really fantastic organizations. So And I'm happy to really help them out. They've asked me to do a couple other things too, and I'm really enjoying. I love what they're about.
Maybe we should do a planning course there.
That would be interesting. We should chat about that. What that would look like.
That sounds totally aligned. So I don't think I've ever colored in this much of a wheel before.
I don't think I have either. Are you so funny? We must have it. We had a really kick-ass November.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we did a monthly cleanup that we do with our local Buy Nothing group. That was super fun.
Oh, where'd you guys do that? Where'd y'all do that?
It's always somewhere in where we live, right? Because the Buy Nothing group is local, so it's just wherever.
Do you all do it at like a park or a street or like what
it's just yeah, the gentleman who arranges it, he just either he picks a place or he says, hey, does anyone have a place that they want us to work on? So yeah. And also we had a super fun Buy Nothing event called Junk in the Trunk. It was our first one. And you just show up and you park at a parking lot and everyone just, all the stuff is, free, just like all the Buy Nothing stuff. And it was so fun. So that was also, those were, as fun as those events were for their own reasons, those were also huge human connection moments.
Absolutely. And contribution, right?
And yeah, it was contribution. It was, I got to live so many of my values.
So many. You just got values coming out all over the place.
Yeah. So I actually am giving myself my first 10.
Wow, I'm pretty close, but not quite. My finances were. My husband and I, we did our money love dates, and we were like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and do our our line item budget like we did to help get ourselves out of debt, and we did not do great on that. We did really good for the first week and it fell off like pretty quickly after that. So we get to re-up on that again, especially going into the holidays, just really wanting to be able to stick to our budget. So that part was, but this helps me see, right, where I'm low. Everything else was either a 9 or a 10. So, that shows me, oh, wow, that's the spot. That's the spot you got to put some attention on. So this is what I love about the instrument panel. It's fun.
Absolutely.
It's instantaneous visual. And then also I went back and wrote some more stuff with my accomplishments because I was like, you know what? I got to reach back. I want you to challenge yourself to fill in all the lines. Yes. And maybe around the margins, and maybe we need to update this and make it so that there's more space in the accomplishments. I want you to challenge at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I actually wrote in 12. I wrote in a couple extra, but at least 11 accomplishments. Yes. And so reach in there. Reach in for even that thing where you're like, is that really it? Yes. Acknowledge it.
Absolutely. And just a reminder, so if you haven't gotten the newsletter, December 19th is the BYWD year-end annual course correction, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We hope to see you there. Yay. And have a lovely holiday season.
Thank you so much for jumping in and doing a course correct with us for November. We'll see you in December for sure. And of course, we're always in the alumni group. Pop in, let us know about your wins, your questions, all that kind of stuff. We absolutely love hearing from you and we love responding. And we hope you're having a wonderful December. Take care, Wild Dreamers. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.